You know what hurts the most every single summer? You step outside on a nice, warm morning excited to check your tomato plants. You did the work, you watered, you fertilized, you followed all the advice, and then you see it. The leaves are going yellow or brown, maybe they're curling, maybe there are spots. Some plants look like they just gave up overnight. So what do most people do? They head straight to the garden center, they grab a spray, maybe a new fertilizer, maybe a different kind of soil, they try it, and it helps for a few days. But then the same problem comes back, or a brand new one shows up. Here is the hard truth: most tomato problems don't start above the ground, they start below it. The real issue usually is what's attacking your plant. It's what the plant was missing before the problem ever started. And that one idea changes everything. Once you understand why tomatoes really struggle, fixing it gets simple, not expensive, not overwhelming, just a few clear steps done in the right order. Today, we're walking through the real reasons tomato plants fail and exactly what to do about each one. We'll cover the most common mistakes, the fixes that actually work, and how to give your plants a real chance to thrive. Stay with us until the very end. There's a bonus tip we're saving for last that most gardeners have never heard. It could save your whole season. Here's the shift that changes everything. It's called the soil-first approach. Most people treat problems one at a time. Yellow leaves, add fertilizer. Bugs, grab a spray. Drooping plant, water more, but that's fighting symptoms, not causes. You've been fighting nature. The soil-first approach works with it. Tomatoes are not naturally weak plants. A tomato in the right soil with the right water and nutrients can fight off most problems on its own. That's not opinion, that's what soil science backs up. The real question is what's wrong with your tomato. The real question is what's wrong with the conditions your tomato is living in. Fix the system, the plant does the rest. Now let's walk through exactly what that looks like, step by step. Mistake 1: you're watering too much or frequently. Most people water their tomatoes every single day. It feels like the right thing to do. More water means more growth, right? Wrong. Here, what actually happens: when you water too often, the soil stays wet all the time. Wet soil pushes the air out from around the roots, and roots need air just as much as they need water. When there's no air in the soil, roots start to drown, then they rot, and rotting roots can no longer send water or food up to the plant. So the leaves turn yellow, the plant wilts, it looks thirsty even though the soil is soaking wet. That's the trap. Most gardeners fall right into it. You see a drooping plant, you water more, and you make the problem worse. The same thing happens if you water at night. Wet leaves and wet soil in the dark are perfect conditions for fungal diseases to grow and spread. Those diseases attack fast, and once they take hold, they're very hard to stop. The fix is simple. Before you water, push your finger about 2 to 3 inches into the soil. If it still feels wet, don't water yet. If it feels dry at that depth, it's time to water. Tomatoes need around 1 to 2 inches of water per week. Water deeply and slowly at the base of the plant, not on the leaves. Do it in the morning so the soil has time to dry during the day. Less frequent, deep watering pushes roots to grow down into the soil. And deeper roots mean a stronger, healthier plant that can handle heat and dry spells on its own. That one small change saves more tomato plants than almost anything else. Get the watering right first. Everything else becomes easier from there. Mistake 2: your soil pH is off, and your plant starves for it. Once you fix your watering, you might expect your tomatoes to bounce back. But if they're still turning yellow, still growing slowly, still looking weak, here's the next thing to check: your soil pH. Most people have never once tested their soil. They assume it's fine. They see their plants struggling, so they pour on more fertilizer. But hear what happens when it's not fine. Soil pH is a number that tells you if your soil is too acidic or too alkaline. It runs on a scale from 1 all the way to 14. Tomatoes grow best when that number is between 6.2 and 6.8, slightly acidic. That is the sweet spot where roots can grab the nutrients they need. Here's the part most people miss. Your soil might already have plenty of nutrients in it, but if the pH is too high or too low, those nutrients get locked away. The plant's roots cannot reach them. So the tomato starves not because the food isn't there, but because it can't access it. That's why simply adding more fertilizer doesn't help. You're feeding the soil, not the plant. Look for these warning signs. Older leaves turning yellow first usually points to nitrogen being locked out. Yellow leaves with green veins often means iron is blocked. Leaves going purple or dark green can signal a phosphorus problem. The fix is easy. Buy an inexpensive soil pH test kit from any garden store. Test your soil before you plant and again mid-season. If the number is below 6.2, add garden lime to raise it. If it's above 6.8, add sulfur to bring it down. Get the pH right and the nutrients already in your soil start working for your plant again. No extra fertilizer needed. That's less money wasted too. Mistake 3. You planted in the wrong spot. You fixed the watering, you checked the soil pH, but the plants still look weak. They grow tall and thin. The stems are floppy. There are lots of leaves but no flowers, no fruit. This is one of the most common signs that your tomatoes are not getting enough sunlight. Here, how it works? Plants make their own food through a process called photosynthesis. They take in sunlight and turn it into energy. That energy is what fuels root growth, flower production, and fruit development. When a tomato plant doesn't get enough light, it shifts all its energy into growing taller, reaching up, trying to find more sun. The stems go thin and weak. The plant looks like it's stretching. And without enough energy coming in, it can't produce flowers. No flowers means no tomatoes. Tomatoes need at least 6 to 8 hours of direct sunlight every single day. Not filtered light through a tree, not morning light for 3 hours and shade the rest of the day. Direct sun for at least 8 full hours. 6 hours is the bare minimum, but 8 is what gives you the most flowers and fruit. This mistake usually happens before the plant goes in the ground. A spot that looks sunny in early spring can turn shady by summer once nearby trees fill in with leaves. Buildings and fences block more light than most people expect. The fix starts before you plant. Watch your garden space for a full day. Track exactly where the sun hits and for how long. Pick the spot that gets the most direct sunlight throughout the day. If your tomatoes are already in the ground and struggling, container plants can be moved. In-ground plants are harder to relocate, so choosing the right spot from the start matters more than anything else. Light is not optional for tomatoes, it is their main source of fuel. Mistake 4. Your plants are too close together. By now, your watering is better, your soil is in range, your plants are getting good light, but the leaves are still getting dark spots. They're turning brown and dropping off. This is what fungal disease looks like, and overcrowding is what lets it in. When plants grow too close together, air stops moving between them, leaves stay wet longer, and fungal spores love exactly those conditions. They land, take hold, and spread fast. 2 of the most common fungal diseases are early blight and septoria leaf spot. Both start on the lower leaves, spread upward, and move from plant to plant quickly when things are crowded. The fix has 2 parts. First, give your plants at least 2 to 3 feet of space from the start. 3 feet is better in warm, humid climates. Second, strip off any leaves growing within the first foot of the soil. These low leaves are the first to pick up disease that splashes up from the ground. Removing them cuts off the easiest entry point. Always water at the base, not overhead. Airflow is your cheapest, most effective disease prevention tool. Mistake 5. You're feeding your plants the wrong way. Your watering is right, your soil pH is set. Your plants have good light and enough space, but the tomatoes still aren't coming. The plant looks big and full and green, but there are almost no flowers, no fruit, just leaves. Here, what's happening? Most fertilizers are packed with nitrogen. Nitrogen is great for one thing, making plants grow green and leafy, but tomatoes need more than leaves. To make flowers and fruit, they need phosphorus and potassium. Too much nitrogen and the plant stops forming flowers completely. It also causes the leaf tips to turn brown and crispy. Leaves curl downward, and the plant attracts more pests. Many gardeners make this worse by using lawn fertilizer on their tomatoes. That product is made to grow grass, not fruit. The fix is straightforward. Use a fertilizer made specifically for tomatoes. Look for one where the phosphorus number, the middle number on the label, is higher than the nitrogen number. In the early growing stage, a balanced fertilizer works fine. But once flowers start forming, switch to a low nitrogen, high phosphorus blend. And if your soil is already healthy from compost, you may not need much fertilizer at all. Feed the system, the plant handles the rest. Most of what gardeners are told to do makes sense on the surface. Water more when a plant looks thirsty, feed more when it looks weak, but tomatoes don't respond to more, they respond to balance. That's the whole point of the soil-first approach. Fix the conditions, the plant does the work. Okay, you stayed till the end, here's your reward. Bury the stem. That's it. When you put your tomato plant in the ground, don't just plant the root ball. Bury up to 2/3 of the entire plant, stem and all, deep into the soil. Strip off any leaves on the part of the stem going underground. Then cover it up. Here, why this works? Tomato stems are covered in tiny little bumps. Those bumps are root starters. They are just sitting there waiting for soil contact. The moment you bury the stem, those bumps wake up and start growing into full roots. The plant builds a much bigger root system than it ever could from just the root ball alone. More roots means the plant can pull in more water and more nutrients from a wider area of soil. It becomes more stable. It handles heat better. It survives dry spells that would normally kill a shallower plant, and it produces more fruit because it has the foundation to support it. If your plant is too tall to go straight down, lay it sideways in a shallow trench about 6 inches deep. Leave the top few leaves sticking out above the soil. The stem will grow roots along its full length and the tip will naturally turn upward toward the sun within days. Most vegetables need to be planted at the same depth they were growing. Tomatoes are different, deeper is always better. One tip, one hole, a completely different plant by harvest time. If this changed how you think about growing tomatoes, share it with someone who's been fighting their garden all season. They need to see this. And if you want more simple gardening tips that actually work, hit subscribe. We'll see you in the next one.